Okay, so Robert, just back to this. So yeah, liner blocks. They're upgraded stainless steel. They're fantastic. These are adjustment screws that deal with, again, lead and lag. You'll learn all this stuff as you go along, but this has to do with the balance of the rotor head system. These are all set. When the blades come off, like, these don't move. They stay there. So technically speaking, I mean, you just put the blades on. You put the main bolt through with that block and all that in the right direction, and it doesn't affect the balance. But during shipping, who knows, right? You may find that it's slightly off, or you get a little bit more vibration, and then you have to go through a procedure to balance it. Which gives you an appreciation for the machine, and you get to know the machine a lot better when you start doing some balancing work. It's rewarding, but time consuming. So yeah, and then all this stuff is pretty self-explanatory. Again, you'll have maintenance manuals and videos I can send you on all this stuff. I'm not going to get into it. And yeah, so that's the main system there. Under here, you got access holes, which you inspect those plates. It's hard to see. There's these kind of like flex plates there, and if you ever see those, they're disformed or bent or something, you know you've got a problem. It's kind of a telltale. These bolts here, where is it? Is it this bolt here? Or is it this one here? Hold on. Where is it? Well, one of these bolts, they're meant to be turned, so they're loose. So if you put a wrench on there, you can move that bolt quite easily. And there's another one back there. The idea is that that's a fail-safe, those bolts. These are glued into these splines in there. Again, you'll see this in the instructions, but those are loose by design. So if you ever hear one while it's winding down, kind of moving up and down, that's because they're supposed to. So that's that. As I mentioned, that vent, you want to take a look at that and maybe come up with a different solution. I just brought this back in from that run up. There's no oil there, but that was pretty short, so it was maybe a 10 or 15 minute flight. But it kind of just shows you that it's not like it pukes oil or anything like that, but it's something to just keep an eye on. In this, you want to see here, like when you put this thing on, it the lip of that screw really holds onto the front there, so it keeps it on there. So just make sure that's nice and tight. You could maybe modify that if you wanted with a rubber thing, but that's how people have done it, so I just left it. Blades, pretty straightforward. Again, you'll get into these maintenance videos. I'll show you. These are grease nipples, and I'll give you my grease gun. You just connect it, and every so many hours you pump a little grease in there, and then it pushes through to the bearings. Same thing for here. Another one. Again, like, all of the stuff's in the maintenance video, and there's more of those grease nipples. Where is it? There's one. Where is it? There's one on the thrust bearing that I was showing you earlier. There's a nipple on that. There are nipples on these that go into these bearings. So you give it a squeeze there every so many hours. You'll see them, a few of them here and there, and you'll get to know them. And that's the gas cap. I don't have a key for it. Never came with one, but you just pretty straightforward. Turn it down. Oh, I should probably turn that off now. Turn the instruments off, and then backup battery. Okay, and that's just the ballast weight, so I'll put that somewhere. My headset. Again, I'll put everything in that blade box, all the blades, and that will just go, you know, underneath or sideways beside the skids here. I'll put this thing on underneath as well. You get the balancer, and then I got some other parts. Those exciter boxes, if they work, those are gold to have, because they're worth at least $1,000 each. But I'll show you where that exciter box is. So that exciter box, oh, here it is, right here. So you'll see two of them. I'll include them. And if you wanted to see if they worked, I guess you take this off. You just unscrew these quick connects in there, and then put it in and hit the starter. And if it sparks, then you know you got a good box, and at least you have a spare. Because I've heard some people that burn those out when they're having a hard time starting their engine. But I've never had an issue with engine starting, so fingers crossed you don't come across anything like that. Yeah, and just speaking about the starting, I know I sent you that video, but when you hit that starter button, you're gonna hear it start ticking, and that's the spark happening. And then all of a sudden you're gonna hear it light off, is what they say, and you'll hear like the turbine like a woof, and that's the Jet A igniting. If you don't get ignition within 5 seconds, then you probably have an issue. I've never had an issue. I've just heard guys having issues. My engine's been fantastic. But follow that start procedure that I showed you, especially flipping that governor on before you do this. I find that works really well. And again, that boost pump, make sure you run it longer if it's been sitting for longer. Yeah, and then, you know, the doors, as I said, like I never had time to properly, make seals for them. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. Like it's going to take a little work, but these doors, you can see here on the inside, there's this foam here, and I've kind of played with different profiles, and I was just playing just to try to figure out what kind of profile I needed in order to get a proper seal around it. And you can see how I kind of like tapered it up. But again, that's just it's more of a mock-up that I started with, and I was gonna get something maybe like laser cut to a certain profile, and I just never got around to do it. The doors work fine. I mean, it's ugly, but it works, right? But you'll want to spend some time and get some new insulation trim for here, and you'll be a lot happier with that. And you know, those other couple things, and you're off to the races. It really will be a nice machine once you take care of those couple little things. But you can still fly it, no problem, as is. And you know, when you put these panels back on, there's a sequence. So I've got the top off and the bottom right now. The first thing would be the bottom. You tongue and groove it in here. You put that top fastener on there, and then there's, you know, one here, and then there's these four here, okay, and then there's one right there. So that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then that panel comes off, and then the top cowling I figured out personally how to grab this, where I grab the top there, right here. I put my forearm kind of like this, like that, and I can get this thing over top of this. I come back and I kind of walk it back over top very carefully, and then I get it in place, and I can do that by myself, no problem. But you know, maybe first time you do it, get a friend, get a ladder, and just you know, take your time when you get it off. You don't want to pull it off and, you know, have, you know, something get caught in grabbing one of these wires and whatever, right? So man, I'm gonna say goodbye to this baby. Yeah, that's it. I think that's it. Oh man, long journey, and it's coming to an end, but you're gonna enjoy it, my friend. Okay, we'll stay in touch.